Are you a professional juggling the roles of wife, mom, and entrepreneur, but feeling overwhelmed by the business and financial side of things? Meet Alicia. She's a talented therapist, wife, and mom who found herself at a crossroads. She and her husband of over 20 years never learned how to manage money, something their schools and parents didn't teach them. Despite success as a therapist, she struggled to run her business, felt the weight of mismanaged finances, and even considered leaving private practice altogether to return to school counseling. They were overpaying taxes, unclear on their numbers, and unsure of how to move forward. Fast forward just 6 months after joining our community, Alicia has paid off $10,000 of debt, saved $8,000, built her dream client base from 0 to 14 full fee private pay clients, and finally has clarity and confidence with her finances. Oh, and she's planning an incredible family vacation paid for in cash. So, if you're ready to finally have clarity and the courage to be able to create the financial freedom that you dream of, book a financial consultation with me. It's absolutely complimentary. The link is in the description. Listen to Alicia's story, and if those are the type of results that you want to get in, the near future in your life, then I would love to chat with you personally to see how we can help. Now, let's get to Alicia's story.
Like I know how to counsel, I know how to be a therapist. Like that's been a part of my identity for the last 14 years, but I had no idea how to run a business and I had no idea how to manage money because I think I really struggled for a long time of like knowing my worth. Like I didn't get into this field to make money. And then it's like the reality of like I actually need money. So many like good things have come since I've stopped avoiding, and like just the communication between my husband and I, like it's opened up some really important conversations. Like, and I was looking at how much debt we've paid off, and I believe we're close to 10,000 in 6 months. So that feels amazing. We actually have a savings. Like I don't think we've ever had a savings. We're close to 8,000 of saving. I have highly encouraged people of like, there's hope for that. Like there's coaches out there and I have the best one that she can help you. Like there's just been so many good things that have happened, and I'm hoping we can just continue riding the wave. We have it under control now. It's not like, all this money coming in like it was before and being like, where did it go? Like now I can see it and I know exactly how it's working. The way that we're managing the money is so different, and our mindset around the money is so different.
So excited to just do a check in with you to see where you're at and how things are going. I would love for you to share your name and what it is you do and where you're at.
Yeah. So my name is Alicia Rippey, and I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm located just south of Denver in Castle Rock, Colorado.
Very nice. Do you
Yeah.
have any specializations in what you do? Like, who do you love working with the most?
Yeah. So I love working with people who have already maybe been in therapy or have had some counseling. So they have a little bit of experience, but they just haven't found the right fit, haven't found a person that they feel like gets them or they connect to. And so, yeah, my ideal client is definitely someone who, like I said, might be familiar, maybe a little bit self aware, but they are just really looking to connect with the right therapist. I'm also certified in EMDR, and that is a somatic memory based therapy. So I love working with clients who might be just experiencing a lot of symptoms, like really feeling it in their bodies, and just have a chance to just dive a little bit deeper into what their body is telling them. And then I'm pretty excited about this. I just applied to get trained in internal family systems. I'm IFS informed, but I'm not fully certified. And that's one of my goals for 2025 is to become
I
certified.
love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Very fun. And I would love to know more about like what challenge you feel like you were experiencing before we worked together that made you, want to chat or figure out like things
Yeah.
to focus on.
So many challenges. Yeah, I think the biggest one is that, like I know how to counsel, I know how to be a therapist. Like that's been a part of my identity for the last 14 years, but I had no idea how to run a business and I had no idea how to manage money. And so I'm completely self taught. I didn't learn that in school, I didn't learn that necessarily from my parents. And so, and neither did my husband. And so, being with him for almost 20 years, both of us have painstakingly paid way too much money in taxes since we are both in the private sector and just, I feel like, mismanaged money to an extent. And so I needed someone to help me kind of just streamline like what we're doing here, like knowing like even just you helping me understand what my numbers are. That was a huge game changer of just knowing, what do I even have like a net worth? Because I didn't know that I did until I did that activity. And it wasn't in the negative, which was really exciting. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that was probably my biggest challenge is just like trying to figure out how to like be a better therapist along with running the business side of it. Like really digging into like my worth as a therapist.
I love it. Yeah, we don't learn it when we're going to school to become clinicians. It's not
Mhm.
a class we take. It's not like any, unless maybe you go to a program that somehow like infuses it or has a guest lecturer come in. But even if you have like one guest lecture on how to run a business, that's not enough. So,
Exactly.
I feel you on that. And then on top of it, we don't grow up or study managing money. So it's like these layers of skills that we don't necessarily have, we haven't practiced, we don't have, that kind of come inherently with the way that we want to serve and the profession that we want to thrive in. And so, you're not alone in feeling that way. Like I know that was what a huge thing for me too. And I'm so surprised that like it's just we all kind of experience this in the mental health profession. Maybe other people that go to school for specific things experience that too. But I love to hear that like getting clear on your numbers was helpful
Mhm.
and that you were able to do something as simple as a net worth exercise because it's easy to bury your head in the numbers and or bury your head in the sand and avoid the numbers
Yeah.
because it's scary. I would love to hear like what other positive impacts you feel like you've had since like focusing and facing your finances as opposed to avoiding and burying your head in the sand.
Yeah. So many, so many like good things have come since I've stopped avoiding and like just the communication between my husband and I, like it's opened up some really important conversations. I think we were already talking about it, but maybe not in the way that we are now. Like just knowing exactly like what his numbers are and like what his goals are for each month. Same with me. I think it's helped hold us a little bit more accountable to hitting those numbers and to each other. Um, since starting the program, I believe I was actually just looking at this earlier today when you sent me the list of things that we might cover here. And I was looking at how much debt we've paid off, and I believe we're close to 10,000. Yeah, in 6 months. So that feels amazing. And then saved, we're close to 8,000 of saving. Um, and there was one other number that I remember looking at that I was like, oh, that's exciting. Um, I can't remember what it is right now, but just like the fact that like $17,000 that I think last year, oh, I know what it was it's an expense, but it's also saved us money is just having a really good accountant. Um,
Mm,
is I can't remember which um, module that it's in that you talk about like building a team and like having the right people around you. And our accountant, I feel like, is so knowledgeable. She's easy to access. Like I really feel like she has our best interests. I don't feel like another number to her. And like I think we interviewed like 3 or 4 different people because our experience has not been great in the past. And so, like, I knew what kinds of questions to ask this time going in. I knew like really what type of person I wanted to have on our team. And that has just been huge. Like the amount that we will save this year alone just by having a good accountant and like knowing the right questions to ask along the way because of the work that I've done with you has just, I feel like that is like one of the most significant changes. Like we were looking at the numbers and we were just like, oh my gosh, like we could already roll over all the money that we've already paid this year and like have it ready to go for next year, which means like we might have some extra money that maybe we'll go to Disney and like surprise the kids. And like that has never really been a conversation. It's more like, let's just pay for the trip, like YOLO, and then we'll worry about it when we get back. But now it's like we don't even have to worry because we actually have the money. And that's
Mm.
huge.
How does that feel to like be on the flip side of something like
Yeah.
that, where usually maybe it's like, you just do whatever you're gonna do, and then you're in your back of your mind, you're like, we're just gonna have to figure this out. But kind of knowing with assurance that like, okay, as long as we do X, Y, and Z, this is the
Mhm.
position we'll be in, this is what we might be able to do. Like, how does that feel for you?
Amazing. I mean, just even as I was saying it out loud right now, like I could just like feel my body like just tingling and like just feeling lighter, more like there's just more space when it's not so much dread around. Oh my gosh, I have to pay the bills again. Or like, you know, we have all these other expenses, which like a lot of those things are still there. It's just that like have always been there. But
Right.
the way that we're managing the money is so different and our mindset around the money is so different. It doesn't feel like it's just paycheck to paycheck. Like even with my husband's jobs, being a little bit slower this winter, like we were able to prepare for that and set more money into savings and have as like an emergency fund versus even a year ago, like we didn't have that. And it was like, the holidays and we're like, oh my gosh, it's a future Alicia problem. Just swipe, swipe, swipe. But now it's like, I don't know, it's different. There's just such a different feel to it and it feels so good.
I love that for you. You mentioned mindset, right? And we do, some work around the way we think about money, how we feel about money, like our relationship with it. And I would love to hear what shifts you feel like you had that have contributed to being able to feel the way that you do now, even though nobody's perfect with money, right? Like we're constantly tweaking our plan and our approach with the way that things ebb and flow. But what unlocks have you had or things, have that you've become aware of or evolved in when it comes to mindset?
Yeah, again, a lot. Like so many good little gems along the way. But definitely the conversation, and I think we circled back to it a few times just around like knowing my worth and like feeling that too. Because I think I really struggled for a long time of like, I didn't get into this field to make money. And then it's like the reality of like, I actually need money. I need to like
Yeah.
pay for my bills and like have a roof over my head and all of these other things. And so I think that conversation was really pivotal to help me dig a little bit deeper into just like what are the stories that I tell myself around like what I'm doing and what it's worth to me or to the people I'm serving. Um, and since then, and like since shifting that mindset, I really have been able to find people who value mental health and are willing to pay for services. And a lot of them are my ideal clients. They're the clients that I want to be working with. Which at the beginning I was like, this is nuts. Like, there's no way. There's no way this is going to work. Um, but at the same time, it's like, I know what I pay for good mental health care. So, I mean, why not me?
Yes, why not you? I think trusting the process, right? Because there's exercises
Mhm.
we did, there's conversations we had to really drill down to the root of what was going on, but also how to help you step into being more confident, I guess is the word, right? Feeling more like you could charge what's necessary and sustainable for the business, right? For you to be able to serve for however long you choose to. Because if you aren't making what's necessary for the business to run sustainably, then what's going to happen? You're going to burn out. You're going to be resentful of your practice. You're going to feel like it's not fulfilling. Like it just turns into this snowball that then could drive someone out of the field. You know what I mean? And leave a bad taste in their mouth. And I know you had mentioned it, right? Like I didn't go into this field to make money. And I literally feel like in school, I heard that, and it was a belief, and we read like the lies we tell ourselves, right? This lie that we're either told or that we tell ourselves that we carry and allow to hold us back from truthfully like serving to our greatest capacity. And when you find a alignment with who you want to help and who you help best, and they're invested in their own mental health to show up and do the work, like it's like Disneyland when you go to work. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're having sessions and like it may not always be fun per se, but it's always fulfilling.
Yeah,
And I would assume that like even with your clients that they feel fulfilled in working with you more because they know they're investing in themselves and they get the best, most energized and enthusiastic version of you, I would argue. Um
I would have to agree because especially, I found you, gosh, what, April or May of this year. And
yeah.
um, when right before I started working with you, I was so burnt out and I was like, there's no way that I can sustain this. Like, I was really starting to think about other avenues of like whether I go back into school counseling, even though I was like dreading that when I started thinking about it. But really just like figuring out like what exactly my number was to charge and then like how many clients I want to see a week. That right there, I think was like the start of just feeling more free and like feeling like, oh, there is a way like to achieve and like still feel fulfilled and not completely burnt out. And I've been um, seeing right around like 15 to 18 clients a week. And I feel so good. Like I haven't felt completely drained to where I don't want to go into work. Like I get really excited about the clients that I'm working with because they're my ideal clients. Like they're the clients that really value mental health and they're showing up every single week, to do the work and to work with me. And so that feels, I don't know, it just feels so good.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, it can be really transformational and that like you literally were thinking about switching careers, and you thought that there was no way that you're going to be able to do this, and for it to make sense or it to make it worthwhile for you and your family. How many clients did you start out with, full fee clients that you started out with when we first started working together?
So I hadn't even like bumped anybody up to the full fee that I'm asking now until we started working
Mhm.
together. And I think I was at like 6. And now, like last week, no, this week, I had 13 full fee clients of like what I'm asking. So I'm only, I'd say like 4 away from hitting my original goal.
Whew,
So
I got some goose pimples.
I know, yeah, it feels so good. And I actually added one today.
Say what? Okay, so then from 0 to 14 now, 13, 14,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
full fee private pay clients. You have some other clients, that have different compensation programs, but in 6 months, like
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned, being able to not only show up to work energized and excited, but would you say you see a difference in how your clients show up? Like the ones that are those ideal clients?
Yes, because especially, I still have a couple that aren't, and I would say they are like the ones who show up late to their sessions or might like miss their session fully. It's just that there's a difference. And then the people that are paying the full fee, they're there and they're like jumping right into like a strategy or an activity that like we might have talked about, the week before, and they just like want to get back into it. and they're, I'm getting really good feedback on to as to like what we're doing together and that they want to keep doing it. And like I ran my first intensive gosh, almost a month ago, I guess now. And I just did her follow up interview 2 weeks ago. And it was some of the best feedback that I've ever received. And she was just like, that was transformational. Like, I've never had therapy or a therapist like you. And she was just like, I have been already recommending you to like 6 or 7 people that I know could use the type of work that you're doing. So that was, I mean, I feel like that's the greatest compliment right there, right? When people are referring you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So good. So good. And I mean, it's a treat for me to be able to watch because it's, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always, when we enroll students, we only enroll students where confident can get results.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still really exciting to see, like, well, what will the results be? Like, to what extent and how will it impact them? And so it just never, it always just fills my heart to see, oh gosh, women like you be able to embody the version of yourself that can show up and like do the work and then see the benefits of their work. And just like
Yeah.
you have clients who show up to get things done, you're
Mm-hmm.
one of those students, right? Like you were in it. You wanted to get in, you want to get started, you wanted to get things rolling. And that's really exciting because that's what yields the best results is this combination of your ability to show up with whatever it is that you want to work on and someone else's ability to show up with a way that they know can help you. Like you do EMDR, you're working on the IFS certification, you know that if people do these certain things, that it's going to transform their healing journey, from trauma and other things. And so, oh gosh, I love it so much. Um,
Yeah, me too.
would you say there's any results that you weren't expecting, that you were like maybe pleasantly surprised by in joining our community?
I don't know if it was necessarily unexpected, but I love the, and I don't even know, I'm trying to figure out the right word in my head, but just like it's like the championing. I don't even,
Championing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say it. Yeah, I just feel like we're like all just like cheering each other on. Um, and those kinds of communities are ones that like I just find like really excite and fuel me because I've, even just like some like networking groups that I've been in when, there's like 1,000 people in the group, it's like you like people start to, one person puts one negative thing in there and then it's like we all like then everybody like just starts spewing the negativity. And whereas this is, I feel like it's just so positive and it's like, if somebody shares an issue or problem that they're having, people are just like jumping in with like sending love and prayer or like whatever it might be. But it's just like, it's just positive. And um, I need that because there's so many other spaces in our world that aren't that. And so it just, I don't know. So I don't know that it was unexpected, but it's just nice to see that this is the kind of place that you've created that feels safe for people to share. And, if people are struggling, like there's a lot of um, good words of wisdom or just some different ideas and solutions thrown out that like maybe I would never have thought of on my own. So that I think is a really beautiful part of it.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I'm very, yeah, that's one of the things I think I'm most proud of is just being able to preserve the quality of the experience in our community. Because like you said, especially like with the internet and stuff, like you just
Mm-hmm.
sometimes can't tell, and people just get really brave behind a keyboard or I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but thankfully we've literally just been able to preserve this very pure and genuine caring for each other, even though we may not have met each other in person before, even though we've only, seen someone's name and never their face yet, or whatever the case is, that it's just like everyone genuinely just cares about each other and wants to see each other win. And that's chef's kiss, my one of one of my greatest joys to be able to see and do my best to preserve. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if you're willing to share, right? Like I don't remember how it happened, but you and another student were able to meet each other, right? In person. I thought that was
Yes,
amazing.
Janae. Oh my gosh, such a random small world sometimes. Now I'm trying to remember too how that
I
happened.
think we were on a call and then y'all were chatting. You decided to like chat or connect virtually maybe, and then
Yeah, yeah. I think you had connected us, which by the way, I also love that. I think maybe that's been a little bit of an unexpected surprise is just every single call that I've had with one of the other ladies has just been really helpful in ways that I didn't even know would be helpful just to hear from someone else's experience who, they're also like an entrepreneur of sorts and they're trying to, figure out their business model and their numbers and um like just being with other people going through similar things and learning how like they've navigated it or like what they've found to be helpful. Every single meeting that I've had with somebody, I've gotten something out of that I was like, oh, like I hadn't thought of it that way, or I didn't know you were doing that, or that could be a possibility. So that's been really cool. But yeah, with Janae, yeah, so I think you had connected us to meet and just kind of talk with each other about our experience so far. And I had found out that she was coming to Colorado for um, a little side gig of hers to help do some choreography. And I asked the name of the school, and it happens to be the feeder middle school in my neighborhood. And so, like, she was literally going to be 10 minutes from me. So we met up, we did happy hour. Actually, we didn't even drink, we just ate really, really good food. But it was like,
the food is what matters. The food is
yeah,
the
exactly. But yeah, no, we connected and it was so fun. We laughed a lot. We shared stories. I was bummed because she was coming back out to Colorado, but I had some like sinus thing going on that I was like, I don't know what this is, and I don't want to pass it on to anybody, so I had to cancel on her. But I'm hoping she gets to come back out next fall, and then we'll just keep our little happy hour times rolling. So yeah, that was really really fun to meet somebody from the community in person.
I love it. I think one of the things that I often hear from women when I talk to them is how lonely
Mm,
the journey can feel at times, and how isolated it can be because maybe you don't have other people that are working on this thing the way that you are or focused in this way that you're trying to be. And especially maybe if you're a business owner,
hmm.
you don't have really many other business owners that you can really talk to about specific things, like they might be other therapists, but they're not necessarily like focusing on
Yeah,
their finances in their personal and professional life or whatever, right? And so being able to have other people that you can talk to about stuff that you aren't talking to anyone else, about you. Your husband is an entrepreneur too, so you probably can have conversations with him, but
no
I think
different. It's still
yeah.
so different.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so, so good. And it fills my heart. Oh my gosh. Okay. So then, I don't know, what do you think you would say to yourself,
Mm.
your, lowest point or when you're really challenged being where you are now? Like, of course, everything is not perfect, but having made the progress you've been able to make in the last 6 months, like, what would you say to yourself?
Oof. Now I want to go back and reread the letters that I wrote to myself. So like
Ooh.
I remember what I wrote. But I guess the first thing that comes to mind is what you already said was just trust the process. It's something that I think gets said, but it's a really hard thing to actually do and like let go of being in control all the time or like attempting to be in control all the time. And that's what I feel like, since making some of these changes and tweaks, and it wasn't like I did anything super drastic. It was just that like I actually held myself accountable, like through our conversations of like, I said I was going to do something. And then you asked me, during our follow ups, like, how has that gone? Or like, what have you done? And like, it was nice having an accountability person outside of my marriage. And so, um, I think, I got to a point, and maybe it was just like within the last couple months of, I was like, this is working. Like these small changes and these tweaks, like even just starting like the money buckets, and instead of trying to budget based on like every little dollar, because that method just did not compute, it did not work for us. But like having the percentages now of like knowing exactly how much I need for bills, how much I need for business expenses, how much I need for, whatever, like that right there was such a game changer for us. And like we've seen the results, like we actually have the data of like we are $10,000 less in debt. We have a lot more. We actually have a savings. Like I don't think we've ever had a savings. So I know, like there's just been so many good things that have happened, and I'm hoping we can just continue riding the wave and just keep, increasing our wealth. And I mean, with all of that, I feel like it's, you know, not just like changed our mindsets, but it's also like I think both my husband and I are just like feeling healthier. Like we're making better choices for our bodies. And it's just impacting like our whole family in such a positive way. So
Oh my goodness. I can't keep saying I love it, but it's literally how I feel.
yeah.
Um, because beyond financial transformation, what
Mm-hmm.
I what I'm even more obsessed with is you being able to become your healthiest version of yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
finances are great, money we need in this world we live in, right? Like we have bills we got to pay and whatnot, but it's like, how do we get past that so that you're able to have the energy and bandwidth, time and money to be the healthiest version of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally? And it's a process. Like
Absolutely.
none of us is perfect, right? Like you said, choices. Like we have to make choices over and over and over again every single day. But hopefully, less worry. And would you say that you worry less about money since you've been, you know what I mean, like working on it?
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Less worry about money creates more energy for anything else, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so you can make more aligned choices. I don't even want to say better choices, but choices that are more aligned with the vision you have for your life because you have the bandwidth. And I think about just like I always have 20,000 tabs open on my computer, but
Same.
my toxic trait. Um, but right, like if we can close out the money tab, if we can close out like the worry around money tab and that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing, then it's like, oh, it's freeing up, some energy and some space to refocus and reallocate it to wherever you want it to go. And so I love that it's a trickle effect into other things. And that's typically how it goes. I call it kind of like a gateway transformation is like you start in one place and then it bleeds out and ripples to the rest of your life. And like, is your financial journey going to be perfect from here on out? No, because no one's financial journey is perfect. But
Right.
have you proven to yourself what you're capable of and what's possible for you when you're focused? And I think that's something that you can carry with you if when the ish hits the fan or something happens with the car or you know what I mean? Like life
Mhm.
inevitably lifes, that we don't get discouraged. We
Yeah.
get we get disciplined, right? And we're like, okay, I see what's happening here. What is our plan? How do we focus on getting somewhere else? So, oh gosh,
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for you because this is just the first 6 months. Like
I know. I know. It, like so much has shifted and changed. Even like I said, just like this time around with my husband's work being slower, like I haven't been panicked at all. And normally I would be, and I would be just like constantly like, what are we gonna do? Like, how's this gonna work? Like, oh my gosh, we're gonna pay so much interest on our credit cards, blah blah blah. But like this time around, I'm like, you know what? Like I can actually cover like things that he typically covers because like we have it under control now. It's not
Mhm.
like, all this money coming in like it was before and being like, where did it go? Like now I can see it and I know exactly how it's working. And I have continued to tweak and like I feel like it's going to be like a seasonal thing that
Yeah.
I'll have to tweak it through, like depending what the season is. But no, I mean overall it's yeah, just been so transformational and just so freeing. Like I said, I just feel tingly and light when I talk about it. I'm just like, this feels good. This feels really good. I haven't really
Yay.
known what that's like for the last,
Oh,
39 years. So,
oh my gosh. Wow. So then who would you say our community is for?
oh my goodness. I would say really for anyone who is looking to better themselves, expand, um, and I don't even mean like expand through like, oh, maybe I do, like expand through like growth, um, whether it is like financially, but when it comes to just like their knowledge base, because like I said, I've learned so many things that like I might not comment on stuff, but I'm reading it and I'm seeing it and I'm like, oh, that's like a good idea. So even just like watching and learning, um, I think it's just for anyone who is tired of like not knowing and feeling stuck and wanting to get out of that stuckness. And yeah, just looking, willing to be coached too, because I don't think this would work if I was resistant to, ideas or suggestions or conversations
Mhm.
that we've had. Um, so I don't know if that
Yeah. No, it's so good. And it's the funny thing, like a trend that I always see is like once we deal with like the financial stuff, the thing that most women will end up saying is beyond finances. And so it's like, yeah, you paid down $10,000, you saved $8,000, you're saving money by having an account, and like there's these tangible results that are present,
Mhm.
but the things that are highlighted or stick out most are beyond the money stuff. And I love that that's just kind of like this common thread that I see because it just shifts your way of being in your life and how you show up and what you believe is possible for you,
Absolutely.
period. You know what I mean? Um, and so I would love to hear, what would you tell someone who's considering investing in themselves to work with me and join us?
Yeah, and I actually have already referred you to a couple of people. And it was people who sounded a lot like me, just around like, I went to school to do this thing and now I'm doing the thing, but I have no idea how to run the business side of the thing. So um I definitely like see that in some of my colleagues and just other business owners that I've come across that are just feeling a little bit lost or stuck in like this rut of like, like I said earlier, you're seeing the money come in, but then it's like, where the heck did it go? So that for sure is one of the things that I have highly encouraged people of like, there's hope for that. Like there's coaches out there and I have the best one that she can help you. Um, yeah. I'm trying to think of like other people that I've referred. I think a lot of it is just around, like I said, like just like kind of feeling lost and stuck and not knowing what to do. And it's like, well, what I've been doing isn't working. So maybe if I, you know, and I think that was part of our conversation before I even joined the community was I was like, oh my gosh, this was, quite a bit of money. And you were like, okay, but like, what if we, and I don't know that you said it like this, but this is how I remember it. Just like that reframe of like, um, but like, what could this investment do for you? And that was so good because rather than seeing it as like, all this, money going out of my pocket to pay for someone to help me sort through this. Um, really looking at it as an investment, like that has completely changed things too. 100% has like just done a 180 for me of like, I invested in, this program. I invested in myself, which in turn is helping my clients, which in turn is helping my husband, our kids, even my extended family. There's been people along the way, like our accountant, I just referred to my brother in law because he's looking for someone. So it's just, when you find a good person, like you want to share that with everyone. So,
You hit the nail on the head. You did, and especially
did,
as
did I get the answer right?
there is no right, it is what it is. If you're like, get your life together, because if you're gonna coach, get coaching with your son, she's gonna tell you about yourself.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, it is what it is. But I
Hmm.
think that mentioning the willingness to be coached and like say, all right, I'm open to getting help, because sometimes we learn we have to do things on our own, and sometimes it's reinforced because we do things on our own and we make some level of progress. Like we've gotten to this point because we did things by ourselves, but a
Right.
lot of the times what got you here won't get you there. And so doing something different is what's going to help you to go to the next level and have your next breakthrough. And it can be tough to ask for help, especially if you're like a certain personality type or have certain
Mhm.
life life things that you've been through. And so to be able to open ourselves up and humble ourselves to ask for help and be willing to trust a process. Thankfully, that's like this, at least we know this is like this stuff works. Like we're not asking you to do something that's not been tested over and over and
Yeah.
over again. So there's that. But like, I know it's hard, especially in today's day and age with so much information we're receiving and so many things that we're seeing, and there's options and what can we rely on? Like, I know that has to be hard for folks. Um, to be able to like cut through the noise to figure out like
Mhm.
what do you want and what do you think is going to help you get there. And that's why, when we had a conversation, really it was a strategy session that we started out with, and anyone who wants to book
Mhm.
one that's listening right now or watching, just use the information in the description and we'll just chat and see where you're at and what you need, because my goal at the end of the day isn't to enroll everybody I talk to. It's to make sure that everyone I talk to walks away with actionable steps that help them move forward. And I think that, thankfully, because I invest in coaching in myself,
Mhm.
and I've been helped so much by that process that I just want to be a reflection of that. I want to be able to use my energy to support in that way. But for those who there is alignment, and it's like, I think we can help you get some good things going
Yeah.
on.
No, I
Amazing.
was blown away by that strategy session. Like, I remember leaving being like, "Oh my gosh, she went, like, overtime. She gave me so much useful information." And, like, I think I've told you this, quite a bit, like, you're freaking funny, you're personable, like, you're genuine, you're real, and, like, I love that. Like, those are the type of people I wanna work with. And so I don't know. I've just like every time I get a talk with you, I'm like, yay. Like I get excited about because I know that there's going to be something like so good that I come away with. So no,
Same.
I really
Same.
thank you.
Just as pleasurable on my end and a privilege, and I'm so grateful to be able to support you, join your journey, and just walk alongside you as you make all of these amazing things happen in your life. And we'll get to see how things continue to evolve in the next 6 months, in the next year, and the next 5 years, right? It's going to be really exciting. Oh gosh. And anyone who's interested in maybe learning more about how to work with Alicia, her information will also be in the description. If you are in, her state and either want to do therapy or an intensive, which is something
Yeah.
that, you moved on in the last 6 months to actually try,
Yeah.
um, then go ahead and connect with her, learn more, refer her to someone that you know that lives in the area that is looking for a therapist. The more that we as a community can support each other in different ways, the better off all of us will be. You recommend your accountant to your brother-in-law, right? Like,
Right.
um, it's just really important, I think, that we come together as a community to be able to have honest conversations and tell people like where we're at and what's helping us, so that they don't have to struggle for as long as, we are, or they can stop struggling if they've been struggling just as long as we have. So
Mm-hmm.
I just
Absolutely.
appreciate you so, so much, how you serve, it's so important. Mental health is literally like the number one thing that we all need to focus on. Our health is wealth. So I appreciate you
Mhm.
and give you your flowers for showing up the way that you do in the world, to do what you do in the world, because it's unique and it's impactful. And I appreciate you personally and professionally. And I appreciate you sharing your story too.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for asking me to come on and share it. I was a little
Yay.
nervous, but I did it.
Wild strength therapy. Yes?
Yep.
That's it, y'all. Wild strength therapy. Again, all the information will be in the description. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.
All right. Thank you.